The Nigerian Railway Corporation has temporarily suspended service for 72 hours on the Warri-Itakpe route. This was disclosed in a statement shared by the managing director of the company, Kayode Okpefa, on his X account on Thursday. The statement is signed by Henrietta Eregari, NRC's public relations officer, blamed the suspension on technical engine failure encountered on Tuesday, the 9th of April of this year. We're now being joined by economist and founder CFS, Lai Omotola, to examine the incessant breakdown of trains and whether Nigeria is getting value from the loans acquired from China to fund the rail project. It's great to have you here on Newsday. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Apart from what we probably can glean, that it's technical difficulty, what are some of the primary causes of the frequent breakdowns that have been experienced by the Nigerian Railway of recent, especially the ones that are being fueled by Chinese loans? Is it a Forex issue? Is it a maintenance supply issue? Is it a training issue? What could be the cause for these situations?
Okay, so let's start this way. Historically, 1898 was when the first rail system was built in Nigeria, and that is from Lagos to Abeokuta, built by the British colonial masters. That's like 127 years ago. And this also coincides with the Industrial Revolution, where everybody understood that for you to have an edge, you need a rail system. And I think in 1960, the British colonial master handed over that rail line to the Nigerian Railway. And up to today, the rail track, a large percentage of it is still what the British built.
How?
Now, because funding, maintenance, and if you now look at our 24 close years of democracy and all we've done and tried to have a rail system working, you will find out that it is difficult for governments to run the rail track. Now, the recent closure of the track that you find is you will find out that, strange to every rail system all over the world, Nigeria is going through security threats, where people find it difficult to be safe on the rail track, despite the fact all the security apparatus that are not even supposed to be there, but they are deliberately there. So there are two things you have to look at. The business of the rail system, can it repay itself back? Looking at the Chinese loan, and the maintenance of that track on its own. So the present closure, not speaking for the NRC, is that I think that they want to close to re-examine themselves and see how they can come out better under the new leadership of Mr. Kayode Okpefa.
Well, I'd like us, to talk about the loans gotten from China to fund this project. What are your thoughts on the terms and conditions? Does it in any way threaten Nigeria's sovereignty? Well,
apart from other loans that we heard of recently, you see that this loan is targeted towards infrastructure. So, and we've always said that there is nothing bad in getting loan, but it should be a loan that is business friendly, that must pay itself back. Now, as it is as of today, I still feel that the government is subsidizing the rail track, and it's not been able to pay itself back without the subvention of government. For the threat of China, Nigeria continues to meet its obligation in the international community as far as repayment is concerned. So there is no threat to that. But what we need to see is, are the business numbers sufficient for private sector to come and invest? Because you need a little bit of private sector investment, because right now the government is doing 100% of it.
And actually, I wanted to ask you that question. Are the numbers big enough for private sectors to invest? Is this something that is being explored or even feasible?
I don't think the private sector, given the way it is today, because it's a major infrastructure project and also a utility project. And all over the world, rail have always been set up by governments because governments have this deep pocket. And if you consider the struggle the private sector still have in the electricity sector of the economy, going into the rail business will be a little bit, they won't be eager, but I'm still sure that some people will want to participate because you see, when you talk about transportation, you're talking about mobility. The strength of your economy is how mobile you are. And what do I mean by that? If I can finish with this interview and have a transport system that can take me to Abuja within the next 55 minutes, another person can be anywhere in Nigeria and want to get to that same Abuja, will go by road and spend 9 hours. I'll be more productive than that person spending 9 hours on the road. So that's why our transportation system is key to the development of our $1 trillion economy. If we do not fix our infrastructure, we cannot aspire to have the $1 trillion economy. And we need to be serious about it.
So how soon can we begin to realize these benefits of having a good infrastructural development, the transportation network, especially when we're having issues of the trains frequently breaking down? What measures can be taken to ensure that this does not happen?
No, when trains break down, that has to do with management. It has to do with getting the right equipment. It has to do with getting the right personnel. Trains just don't break down that way. That one is just a management problem. And I mean, they have enough funding for the trains not to break down. So if train breaks down, that's strictly management. You didn't buy the right equipment, you didn't put the right people. But when we're talking about the entire infrastructure, if you look at Lagos State, for example, Lagos State will have 6 lines for rail system. Now, one is operational, the other one is like 90%. Then there are 4 more. So what Lagos State is trying to do is, from Marina, which is the hub, you see 3 lines moving from Marina. One goes to Lekki Trade Zone, another one goes to Agbado, then another one goes to Kokomaiko. So the meaning of that is that you see a lot of people within the residential area, but they need to get to the highland. So you can stay in the Kokomaiko and get to the highland within 30 minutes. The same thing with Agbado, and then the same thing when you're looking at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, that is the New Lagos. So that's the design. And then you now have other ones that will go outside of Lagos, like Redeem, and then get to Ota in Ogun State. So if you look at the way Lagos State is planning the transportational system, you will find out that it's to enable the economy. So with that, Lagos State can now boast of $259 billion economy. And if transportation is eased, then you can know that is a function of, will have a major effect on the economy. So that is why we must not continue to pay lip service to our infrastructure, our rail system, because our rail system is critical to our development. Not only for us to commute passengers, but also all our goods and services.
Well, it seems like it's a double problem now. So sometimes it's an infrastructural problem. Of course, we have legacy infrastructural issues across the board, not only in railways, but also a management problem. And we have that issue across the board, not only in railways. How do you balance the two in order to avoid scenes like seeing individuals carrying their load on their head, trekking after having to disembark from a train, seeing as they're separate, but they're still, if one breaks down, then the other one breaks down as well.
So that's the tax before the new management. There's a new management in NRC led by Mr. Kyle Dokwefa, who major part of his life has spent in the transport system. The former commissioner for transport, he also participated in the Greek log of Apapa Greek log in those days. So it's his own management problem now to overhaul the whole system and bring in new ideas and ensure that it is efficient and also revenue generating agency, because the investment that goes there is for the purpose of revenue. It has to pay itself back. So not government paying it back, because people are paying for tickets and people are ready to pay for the fares if the system is fine. So that is the problem of management, which I'm sure that they will be able to address.
So what are your expectations, regarding the project's impact on Nigeria's relationship with other countries, particularly in terms of trade and, diplomacy?
Well, presently, every country is now trying to look inwards as a result of the tariff that the United States is bringing out. And as a result of that, the plan for globalization, that everybody must come together and partake, is now becoming obsolete. Now, everyone wants to isolate itself and first defend their own national interest first. And I think Nigeria too should also begin to think towards that and not be looking at collaboration that would no longer be visible. So we must look at made in Nigeria, think about Nigeria, and for the purpose of Nigeria.
Well, I think that was very well said. What else are your concerns concerning the railway lines and the management and the infrastructure? What do you foresee before the end of this tenure, since it is hopefully government steps in and does something about it?
The rail business is the big ticket business. It requires a lot of funding, a very, very big infrastructure project. And apart from that, it also requires a lot of expertise and then seriousness. It should not be politicized. There are certain routes that are very lucrative that would bring in the returns quickly. But sometimes in this rail business, it's politicized that every state must have a rail. Now, you don't look at geopolitical framework to talk about a business. There are some rails that are not that profitable and have to be continued to be subsidized. But example in Lagos, no matter where you go within Lagos, it's profitable. Now, management must begin to think more about enterprise than, this is just a national cake and let us try and see it. If we don't move away from that mindset, our road track will not be as efficient as we want. Now, if you look at developed nations, when you get to a rail station, every 5 minutes, you hear mind the gap, every 5 minutes. That shows how lucrative the business is. But in our own rail, some rails have been there for like a month. You can't see any train passing through. And then you see traders coming on the rail track to come and sell. All these things shouldn't be happening again in this new dispensation.
And talking about, some of the challenges facing the rail system here in Nigeria, are you satisfied with the safety and security measures that have been implemented so far to protect passengers and cargo on the rail network? Or what else would you like to see done? With
the level of insecurity in the country now, where you see people just want to steal, haul and everything, you can't really blame the management for the insecurity that you are seeing. You can imagine people stealing street lights and people vandalizing high tension cable. The state of insecurity as a result of the economic hardship is difficult for NRC, which is not the security agency, to cope with. So I'm not satisfied with the level of insecurity around the track that we see. But I know that there are solutions to it, to ensure that our tracks are safe and the rail system is secured.
Do you see that there's been an improvement in the security situation surrounding the rail tracks? And what are some of the solutions, just off the top of your head, that could be proffered in order to make sure that security is still paramount, even though it is an uphill task within our economic situation in the country and the world that we live in now?
Well, security improvement differs from different regions, as you see it. In some regions, it may have gone down. In some regions, you may see that it's increasing. For example, when you hear people from Borno, the governor of Borno State, saying that there's a lot of pressure concerning security. Some other states are saying that it's a little bit going down. So you have to look at it per region. And then you will now see what do we think the solution for rail track is to condone it off, although it's going to be very, very expensive. When you say you condone it off, you make the rail track exclusive to only the rail. You don't make it open. And if you're able to do that, then you begin to secure it. So that's the, and then you use technology, the use of CCTV camera and the rest of it to be proactive in ensuring that passengers and goods are safe.
So what about the issue of corruption? You know, already we are hearing stories of people being sold tickets that are different from what ordinarily it should be. How do we begin to tackle this issue, especially in a country where we seem to pay a lot of lip service to actually fighting corruption? Yeah,
that will always happen. You see, when you are running a cash management system instead of a cashless system, when human beings see cash, they tend to have a little bit of how do we pick it up. But when they don't see the cash at all, so it's for the management to go cashless, totally cashless. Because if you look at the airways, you can sit in front of your laptop, pay for your ticket, and you enter your plane and you go. So it's going to corrupt your money. So the management need to go cashless instead of going exchanging cash. So that's the solution to that.
And that comes with all its own infrastructural issues as well. But, you know, we hope for the best. We really do, one step at a time.
It remains seamless if it's technology,
well, there we
once
go.
You get it right.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Lai Omotola, economist and founder of CFS, for having this conversation with us here on
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.